does that even mean, Bowers game?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review, and today we're excited to check out Heir to the Pharaoh from Eagle Griffin Games. This is for 2 players, take about 45 minutes to play, and it's for ages 10 plus. And Heir to the Pharaoh has died, or the king has died, or whatever it is, and one player is going to be playing as the cat, and one player is going to be playing as the dog, and they're going to be fighting over who's going to get all of the inheritance. It's pretty much an abstract point salady game with lots of different ways to score. Lots of stuff going on, but it's still a surprisingly simple game. But is it good? Let's open it up. I'll tell you what I think about it. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Heir to the Pharaoh. So first and foremost, we got our handy dandy rule booklet, 12 pages, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples, and it's pretty well done. Now, you are going to be using this rule booklet quite frequently for about the first half of your game as you learn what all the moving parts do. But that being said, I don't feel like that's a fault of the rule booklet, more that the game just has quite a lot going on. So this is a abstract point salady type of game where there'll be, I believe, 4 different ways to score points. Now, normally I go over the components, then we get into the gameplay, but with how much is going on right now, I'm just going to get straight into the gameplay, and that will, in turn, cover the components. So when you first start the game, you're going to choose whether or not you're going to be the dog or the cat, and you're going to be given these 10 cards right here. These are going to be your bidding cards. They go from 1 to 10, and your opponent's also going to have 1 to 10. They are identical, except for some have blue and some have suns on it. That's just done for tiebreaker purposes. You're going to start the game with the sun on the board right there. And right now, we pretty much have the game set up. You're going to have a pyramid. You're going to agree on where the pyramid is. You're going to be setting out some of these magic animal tokens out here. And if you build on a magic animal spot, then you will get to get one of your magic cards. And your magic cards are over here. These are special effect cards that you will be able to play when you're bidding. And they have some really cool special abilities. Reveal your opponent's bid. You may now change your own bid, add 1 point to your bid and win all ties, exchange your bid with that of your opponent, move your current bid to the corner pyramid. Lots of cool stuff's going to be going on like that. So, this game really is made up of 2 phases, and so we'll go over the phases. The first phase is going to be the bidding phase, and you are going to have 6 cards you're going to be bidding on right here. So we'll go over what these 6 cards do. So first is Seshat. So this is you place a monument token standee on the board. Because each round, you are going to be placing 1 monument on the board. And over here, we have our monument. So for this particular turn, since this one is on the bottom, the obelisk would be the monument that this person would get to place on the board. Why do you want to place a monument on the board? Well, because there's also these tokens that are going to come out, and if you are pointed at a token at the end of a game, you're going to get as many points as are on the token. So this token, if you were pointed at it, would be worth 2, and then if you were also pointed at this token, it'd be worth 4, and you can see how that will this will pile up points as you progress through the game. That's one of the main ways that you're going to be able to score in this game. So the number 1 person is going to be able to place monuments on the board. So you'd be able to bid on that. The number 2 person is going to then claim the monument that was just placed on the board. So whoever has 1 will get to place the monument wherever they would like to. Now whoever has 2 is actually going to get to claim that monument. So they will get to take their token and then flip it to the side that they want and then place their token however they would like underneath that monument. Hopefully you will be able to make your arrows point to other monuments, because if your arrows point to other monuments, then you will gain points at the end of the game. Number 3 is going to allow you to claim the active monument card. And this is another way to score points. It's a set collection aspect. So when you collect this card, you're going to get points immediately. So the first obelisk or the first shrine or the first whatever you get is going to give you 1 point. Now later on in the game, if you claim another obelisk, then you'll immediately gain 3 points. And then if you claim another obelisk, you'll gain 5 points, and another one will get you 7 points. So this is a set collection aspect to the game. Number 4 will allow you to add a player disc to the active sun. Now, this is another way that you're going to be scoring points. So whoever wins Ra is going to be the sun god. They'll have favor with the sun god. And what they're going to do is they're going to take one of their player discs and they will just put it right on that spot. And then next round, somebody else might win it. Next round, somebody else might win it. But what you're trying to do is get numerous ones of those in a row, because at the end of the game, however long your longest chain is, you're going to get that many points times 2. So for instance, let's just set it out and say this is how it ended up being. So that would mean that 1, 2, 3, 4. The cats would get 8 points at the end of the game, and there's a score tracker around the outside. And then the dogs, since their longest one is 2, would get 4 points at the end of the game. So Ra is going to do that for you. So, next we have Wadjet. Draw 1 animal magic card. We alluded to these cards a little bit earlier. These cards are going to allow you to do fancy things during the bidding phase. So you can get those by either placing a monument on that spot or by winning Wadjet. Last but not least, you have the Pharaoh card. When you do this, you're actually going to set this over to the side. And normally, you'd be bidding and you flip your cards face up to see who won the bid. However, the Pharaoh, you're actually going to put your card face down over by the Pharaoh. And when you get to one of the corners of the board, when it's I believe the 2nd, 4th, 6th, and 8th turn, you're going to reveal your face down Pharaoh cards, and whoever has the highest combined number is going to be able to put their pyramid, their corresponding color, on top of the pyramid, and these will be worth points at the end of the game. Yet another way to score points in the game. So that is the last of the one. Then there is Thoth, and he pretty much just does the cleanup phase. Whoever has the fewest of the gods they won in the bidding phase gets to do Thoth. So all these cards are going to be face down like this with Thoth down at the bottom. Now the top card is also going to get this Favor of the Pharaoh card. Oh, we'll slide that one in there right there. The Favor of the Pharaoh means that this specific god is going to be able to unlock his special ability down at the bottom. Which means his ability will be a little bit better. So in theory, you might want to bid a little bit higher. So Wadjet, normally you get to draw one of these animal magic cards, which allow you to do fancy things during the bidding phase. And also, they can be worth victory points at the end of the game if you don't spend them. However, this time, since he has the Favor of the Pharaoh token on him, which is a nice chunky wooden one, he's going to be able to draw 3 cards and claim 1. So essentially, you're going to be able to pick whichever of the 3 cards you draw instead of just drawing the top one. So it's always nice to have the Favor of the Pharaoh. So how the bidding works is you'll flip over the top one, and then both players will place their card face down like so. So let's just say this, and I would win this phase. Now, you don't discard these. You just kind of set them off to the side. Because what's going to happen is, once you're done with the bidding phase, you're going to give all the cards that you bid over to your opponent and vice versa. So if you spend 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, you are probably going to win every god this phase, but next phase, your opponent's going to have all your good cards, which they will be able to spend. Also, you might notice there's an 11, 12 over here. Those are cards you'll be able to bring into the game as per your special fancy cards that you can play throughout the game. So, just to rewind, what you're going to do, you're going to be taking turns bidding on all of these different gods until you get down to Thoth, at which point you will then activate all the gods in Citadel style order. So you'll do 1 go, 2 go, 3 go, 4 go, 5 go, 6 go. So you'll be playing the monument and then claiming the monument and then claiming the card, so on and so forth. And then you are going to rinse, wash, and repeat. You'll move the sun, Thoth will do that, and you do that over 8 rounds. At the end of 8 rounds, you're going to tally up how many points you get, the different ways to score, just to refresh. You get, if you have any special cards in your hand that you do not spend, they're only worth 1. Also, if you won the Wadjet card the last turn, it's going to give you 2 points. You get the suns on the board, so you're seeing how long your chain is, and then you're going to tally that up. The pyramid, so 7 players, the person who has the most of their things on top of the pyramid, which, as we mentioned, you'll be winning when you get over to the 4 corners by bidding on the Pharaoh. And then the monument tokens, which is where you're really going to score points, which is if you're facing at different monuments. So, like, say, for instance, this right here would get me 5 points because this guy's facing at this, which is worth 2 points. This guy's facing at this, which is worth 3 points. But anywho, you're going to tabulate up who has the most points. Whoever has the most points will be the winner of the game. And that, in a nutshell, is how Heir to the Pharaoh is played. Alrighty then, Heir to the Pharaoh from Eagle Griffin Games. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, the game's not going to be for everybody for a couple different reasons. It's a two-player game, which is immediately going to be a turn-off to a lot of people. Very restricted player count. Also, this is not a game that lends itself to a lot of variability. You're going to be doing the same thing over and over and over again for 8 rounds. Then if you play another game, the game is going to feel samey. Now, with that being said, different strategies, you can focus on different ways to score points, but there's not going to be anything that's major changing from one game to the next, which might be a turnoff to some people. Another con that I have with the game is that this is definitely one of those games where the first time you play, if you're reading through the rules, it's going to take you a good deal of time to play. Now, the second, third, fourth playthrough go by lightning quick when everybody knows what they're doing, and honestly, it's a very easy game to teach once one person knows how to play. But when you first learn the game and nobody knows how to play, this game will probably take about an hour and 30 minutes, which is unfortunate, but hey, it's the nature of the beast. Any other cons I have with the game? I wasn't the biggest fan of some of the graphic design on there. Some of the hieroglyphics look a little bit weird. It's not a big deal. It's not a deal breaker by any stretch of the imagination. They tried to make it so that it works thematically with the graphic design, but it just made it a little bit more confusing than I wanted it to be. But it's, like I said, not a big deal. It's just you can't read the name of the gods. You can't read this. Also, the shrine and the shrine and the Sun Temple look a little bit too much like each other for my liking. Once again, not a big deal at all. One last con that I would have liked is I wish this would have been more of an asymmetrical game. The only really way they could do that was have different special ability powers. I wish that they would have done that each one had different special ability powers, but it's not a huge deal because I feel like they did want the game to be pretty symmetrical, and that's what I got on the con side. Because moving on to the pro side, I enjoyed Heir to the Pharaoh, and I was very surprised that my wife also enjoyed Heir to the Pharaoh. I ended up playing this with 2 different people, and they both really enjoyed the game, and I enjoyed the game myself. So what do I like about the game? First and foremost, I like the fact that I felt like the points were pretty well balanced. As long as you didn't let somebody run away with something, the game is going to be a very close game most of the time. And honestly, I feel like the only one that you can really run away with is the placing the temples, because placing the temples can get you a lot of points when you have your temples pointing this way and that way. The first game I played with my buddy Nick, I let him pretty much just have his way with that, and despite the fact I beat him at pretty much every other aspect of the game, letting him do that, he crushed me with that. But granted, I let him win 7 out of 8 of the battles, so that was kind of my own fault. But I felt like it was pretty well balanced in that aspect. There was different ways you could try and score points. So I did like that. I liked I liked the bidding in the game. I liked how all the different god phases felt pretty well balanced. It was like all of them are going to score you points in different ways at different times, and I did enjoy that. I like another fact. It says 45 minutes to play. That's when you first learn how to play the game. But honestly, at the second, third, fourth time, this game is going to fly by. Once you know what you're doing, it's just boom, bid, boom, bid, boom, bid, boom, bid. Do your action, do your action, do your action, do your action. Rinse, wash, repeat. The game is very brisk once you know how to play. Me and my wife, our second time playing this, knocked it out in probably about 30 minutes tops. It was a very quick game. Component-wise, very nice components that, they made it 3-dimensional, and once you have the board all set out, you're going to have all these different shrines and obelisks set out, and it looks pretty cool. I like the artwork. The theme, while it is completely abstract, I dug the theme, and we had a little bit of fun with that. And overall, it's very, very simple. If you're in the market for a solid 2-player game that you can bust out every once in a while, this is definitely one you might want to check out. Now, if this is a game that you're hoping to play, once every couple nights with like a loved one or something like that, I don't feel like this is going to be your game. This is definitely not one that lends itself to playing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Like, once you get done playing, I don't feel like this will be one of those games you're like, oh, I want to play that again and try this different strategy. No, this is like once in a while. This is a very solid game. So, Heir to the Pharaoh. Easy to teach, not the easiest to learn when you're first starting, but a simple, enjoyable, point-salady, abstract game that I can recommend if you're in the market for a game like that. So that is Heir to the Pharoah from Eagle Griffin Games. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on that subscribe button and below in the comments below. Let me know. Are you a box hoarder? I want to know if other people are like me in this aspect. For some reason, I hold on to boxes. I'd be like, oh, you never know when we might need this box. And then we just end up having like this huge stack of boxes, and my wife yells at me, and then I eventually just throw all the boxes out. And then, of course, like a couple days later, I'll need one of those said boxes. But yeah, I am a box hoarder. Are you a box hoarder? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.